Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to start something. Hopefully I can do a couple videos before I lose interest because that seems to happen a lot. But today I wanted to talk about some skills related to mental health and maybe just do like a small series or couple videos on just things that are helpful for anyone regardless of mental illness, whether they have mental illness or whether they have just like stress in your life, things that help you kind of get along. And I think that there are a bunch of skills that we have at our disposal, that everyone has at their disposal, and we can use them. I try to incorporate skills that anybody can do, that you don't need money or anything to do. So today I wanted to talk about the simplest of all skills. You literally need nothing to do it, and it's just about focusing on your breathing. And if you have any kind of mental health, anything, this is like the first thing that people talk about. People talk about it all the time, focusing on your breathing, focusing on breathing in and breathing out, all of those things. And I think that those are really, really positive, and I think people underestimate the amount of emotional control you can regain by focusing on your breathing. There are a lot of breathing techniques. The simplest and the one that you hear the most is just focus on breathing in and breathing out. The best way I find to do this is breathing in through your nose and then breathing out through your mouth. Some different types of breathing exercises that do stuff like this. There's one that's really heavily used in like yoga and meditation practice called lion's breath, where you do something similar to that, but you make noise and you kind of like give that breath out some like energy, like vocal energy, where you breathe in and then you stick your tongue out and you breathe out. And you feel ridiculous. Like you're going to feel silly doing it. But it really helps kind of take some tension in like your chest, especially if you get anxiety and you feel it a lot in your chest. That breath practice is so positive and really gets a lot of that tension somehow to just kind of relax a little bit. I think a lot of us, and I've heard from a lot of people that, like therapists, that when we're anxious, when we're having a hard time, the last thing that we focus on is breathing. And when you're holding your breath, you're holding all this tension in your body. And I know this sounds so simple. And I know when you're having a really hard time, when something happens, you get triggered or whatever happens, I know it's really like the last thing that you're thinking about is like focusing on your breath. But it can be really, really helpful. And I've seen it be really good for me and really good for other people. So that's kind of the basic one. Breathing in. Big, big, big breath. And then breathing out like you're breathing out through a straw. So you really focus that energy and all of that breathing out. And then just kind of letting your body just kind of naturally relax into it, mindfully only focusing on your breathing. Don't focus on your stress. Don't focus on what you're making for dinner. All you're focusing on is your breath and how you're going to control it. And letting that just kind of take its effect on your body is really, really powerful. So another breathing exercise I really like is called box breathing. And the standard count for this is 4, but if you want to do it more or less, depending on your breathing capabilities, maybe you can't, when you start, you can't breathe in the full 4. You can't hold it, things like that. You can always start smaller and work your way up. So box breathing is when you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, and there's 4 counts, so you count to 4. Breathe in. And then you breathe out for 4, and then you hold for 4. And you just do this over and over again. So it's a box, and kind of like you can visualize it because you're breathing in, you're holding, you're breathing out, you're holding, you're breathing in, you're holding, so on and so forth. And you can do this, and it really, really helps. And so I really like the visualization aspect of this. So I will visualize just that box that I'm breathing around. Now, there's a really great app that I like. There are a lot of really great apps for breathing that are free, absolutely free, that you can put on your phone. My favorite app my favorite app for breathing exercises is called Breath Ball, and I'll try to put that in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description. It's a free app available on Android or iPhones, and what will happen is when it helps you visualize that breathing, so it also gives you something to visually focus on. So as you breathe out, as you breathe in, the ball expands. It's just a little tiny ball on your screen. It expands, and then it'll hold for that 4. And then as you breathe out, it contracts. And then you hold for 4 and it stays still. And it just kind of helps you visualize that. So if you're a very visual person, or if you've got a lot of stress and things going on around you, it can be helpful to kind of hyper focus on this little graphic. So it's a really great app. I really like it. Very easily accessible. They also have other breathing exercises. There's a million breathing exercises. If you find one you like, stick with it if it helps you release tension. There are also some that they do for like Navy SEAL training that can help you kind of re-regulate your breath. Because, when you're anxious, you kind of like, but you're not breathing out, you're not like, you are, technically you are, because like you have to be alive, but like you're not focusing on like really just kind of getting that air out. And so really focusing on your breath really does make a difference. They also have an exercise called the 4-7-8. So you breathe in for 4, you hold for 7, and then you breathe out for 8. Because I believe studies have shown that a lot of people, they breathe in more than they breathe out. So focusing on breathing out more than you're breathing in can really help you get that control over your breath. It can take a little bit of practice, because holding for 7 is a lot, and breathing out for 8 is a lot. But once you get kind of into that cycle, it's really, really helpful, and it really just helps you de-stress. I know that this is like my first time talking about like breathing exercises and things like that, and I hope to bring in more skills that maybe you haven't heard of, because I know pretty much everyone has been like, oh, you're stressed out, just breathe. People will always say just breathe. And sometimes when you're stressed out, that's kind of like, it almost feels like a little bit diminishing of your experience if like people are like, just breathe and it'll go away. Well, maybe your problems won't go away, but maybe you can kind of relax your body a little bit, and then you can kind of come in a little bit more level-headed. And you can do this, you can start doing it for 30 seconds, and then you can work your way up. Just make sure that you're taking care of your body, you're listening to your body. If your body's like, I can't hold for 7, I'm gonna die, maybe just like don't do the full 7, maybe do 4 or something like that. Really listen to your body and focusing on that breathing. I don't really see how this can hurt anybody, because even if your breath capacity is different and you can't do a full cycle of whatever breathing exercise you are doing, you can always modify it to do it yourself. But breathing is such an essential part of really any type of getting your emotions re-regulated. And like I said, this is not just for people with mental illness like myself. This is also for people who just struggle with stress, which I think, as far as I know, is everybody at one point or another, right? Life is really stressful. So focusing on breathing, getting your body to relax. You can also do things to accompany your breath, like meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, where you kind of mentally focus on top to bottom or bottom to top, tensing muscle groups and then relaxing them. It's very good for relieving some of the physical signs of stress and anxiety in our body. So you can accompany your breathing exercise with that. So, and I can talk a little bit more, maybe another video, I'll talk a little bit more about progressive muscle relaxation. I'm not an expert, I'm not a therapist, I am a mental health patient, and I have experienced a lot of these things. So, it does really help, and I've seen it work on so many people, not just myself. I had I just recently went to a treatment center to kind of get re-regulated, and someone was, they were panicking because they felt like they were having a seizure coming on. And so, like, I'm not saying this can stop seizures if you're having a seizure. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in this particular instance, this person started feeling those feelings of a seizure coming on, and the stress was kind of bringing it on faster. So I got her a cup of water, and I was like, do you feel like you can do some, like, you want to, like, do some breathing exercises? Because when you're in treatment, a lot of the treatment that you receive is actually from the people in the community that you're in, rather than like the classes that you take, right? And so you focus on breathing. So I opened up my app of Breath Ball, and I just put the box breathing on. I gave it to her, and I said, give this a try. If it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. And if any breathing exercise doesn't work for you, don't beat yourself up and think that you're broken or that you're not helpable. That's not the truth. It's just about finding what works for you. But this woman was able to reduce her anxiety about the feelings that she was feeling about potentially a seizure coming on. And it actually did stop. Like, she didn't have a seizure. I don't know if it stopped the seizure or if she was just having sensations that built panic in her that were similar to what she experienced to having seizures. But this was really helpful for her because when we start to panic, we're just not breathing right. And really focusing all our energy on breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding, or maybe you're not holding, whatever you're doing with your breathing exercise, it can be so helpful. So I just wanted to share this quick tip with you all because it's so important, and I would be remiss if I was going to do skills videos and I didn't talk about breathing. So maybe even today, even if you're not stressed, but maybe you have some tension in your shoulders. Maybe you're a crocheter and you have tension in your shoulders and your wrists. Focusing on, keeping your posture straight, breathing in, breathing out, or letting that tension kind of melt away. If it, and maybe it won't go completely away. Probably won't, especially if you crouch and do this crochet like I do. But like, if I let my posture be right and I focus on breathing and I open kind of my airways to breathing and all of that stuff, it really does make a difference. So maybe give it a try, see what you think. And, if it helps, it helps. That's the thing about, I can throw 100 skills at you and maybe one will help. But if it helps, who cares if the 99 didn't work for you? You've got one that does, right? So this is all about finding things that work for you when you're really stressed. I might share some things with you that don't work for me, but they work for other people. So I will share them just in case they work for you. But if there's any skill that you have thought about or have heard about and you want to know more information, I would love to share that in another video with you. So I just hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this video can be something that brings you a little bit of peace, knowing that everyone struggles with anxiety to a certain level, right? Whether you have generalized anxiety disorder or something like that, or you're just anxious and stressed because life, like, again, is really, really freaking stressful. Breathing can help so much, and really focusing on it. Sometimes if we get really in the zone, the rest of the world can melt away. And at the beginning, it might not be like that. But if you practice breathing, and I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Practicing breathing. But if you practice these skills, you can really, really start to turn the tide on how you regulate your emotions and how you regulate your body's reactions to these emotions. So I really hope this helped. I hope to have a series of things that haven't helped me, but have helped other people, because I've learned a lot of skills in my time in treatment, in my outpatient therapy, and things like that really work for me. And I'm going to always be honest if something's working for me. There are some skills I'm going to share, and I'm going to say sometimes it's a 50-50. It doesn't really work for me, or it can make things kind of make me, it can harm me, but it really works well for other people. And just finding that skill that works for you, or a couple skills that work for you, can be so incredibly helpful when you are stressed. So I hope you have a great day. And if you'd like to see any skills coming up, let me know.